What we had last week. And let me make sure my notes are going. And yeah, so we have the, I think you probably are only seeing this ball that's reacting to sound. That's because it's everything, we never set any positions of anything, so everything's just sitting on top of each other. So the first thing, let's see. The first thing, well, one thing I tried to do, and for whatever reason I couldn't get it to work last time, was have one of the objects move around with the mouse. We did this mouse state thing over here, and I figured out why that wasn't working. It may have worked for some of you, but it didn't work for me. And the only reason why was because this position down here said position 0, 0 instead of position 0, period, 0, period. And so it was converting all those position messages to an integer. So it's only going to be 1 or 0. So 1 would be right off the screen. So so that's why that didn't work. So first thing, well, let's save this as and make a new project folder for class 12 and save this as 12.1 OpenGL interactive examples. Okay, so let's go ahead and start fixing this. First off, I'm going to add periods to this position 0, 0. So make it 0, period, 0, period. And now this grid shape, which I don't see. Why don't I see it? Anyway, it should. Oh, I know why. It's not moving around because we have to hit poll. Remember, this mouse state doesn't put anything out until you hit that button poll. So let's go ahead and add a load bang to this so that it automatically hits that button poll at the very beginning when we first open this patch. So that kind of fixes that problem. And go ahead and hit poll now to make sure it's working. And now that ball should follow your mouse around the screen. Of course, the mouse, if you have it windowed, your mouse, it's not going to be right where your mouse is because it's scaling based on the entire resolution of your monitor width. But if you go full screen, it should more or less be where your mouse is. It might be slightly off because of camera angles, lens angles and stuff. If we change this to orthographic mode, it would be dead on.
Is there any reason that the second sphere is not showing up?
Well, do you just have the one that's sound reactive? Is that the only one you have? Okay. Well, let's see. Your grid shape over here. Is it changing position? It might be that it's there and that you just don't see it because your position thing might still be messed up. Take a look at your max window. Does your max window giving you any red messages? By doing Command M to show your max window?
Yeah, a lot. Doesn't understand. Git.gl.grid shape
doesn't understand what? Position?
It just says doesn't understand and then it's like 2 sets of parentheses.
Okay, so it's whatever you're in that pack position, this part, you got something going on wrong here. I can take a look.
Pack position 0 dot space 0 dot.
Okay, well, okay, that's wrong. That's why. Because you're not putting that into the first inlet of pop position. You put it into the second inlet of pop position. So you
And the last. So they don't
and the
go
last.
the same way.
Right, yeah. So you need to go and respawn that pop position by adding a character and taking it out again. And then patch to the second and third inlets.
What if it says it doesn't understand?
Then that's because you didn't make 0, period, 0, period here. That's the problem I was having yesterday. And if I had looked at my max window, I would have known that. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's take a look then. Scale 10, 10, yeah, okay. Okay, let's, okay, it doesn't understand int. There's some int is going directly into something. Go over here. Make a message and patch it to this right here. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's see. So it's going to be whatever message is coming into this. So let's see. This is the only thing that should be sending the message. So what? Oh, it's only sending a 0 for some reason. Oh, that needs to be a message, not an object. Okay.
Yeah, I only see one sphere and apparently my window is perfect.
Okay. So that's one thing. Let's see. Fix mouse state position. We did that. So we can't. Let's see here. You also might not be able to see this second ball or the third ball until it gets really big because of this video plane. If the video plane happens to be ahead of it, then it could be getting in the way. Let's see. So try turning off your video plane if you still don't see something. This GL video plane by turning the X on and then off again.
So there should be 3 in there?
There should be 3 different things, a video plane, but the video plane doesn't have any video on it. Or do you guys not have a video plane?
No, I have a video plane, but nothing's playing.
Okay, well, nothing's going to play until you read a movie into your JIT movie over here. So let's grab a movie. And now, there we go. And if I set that, actually it shouldn't be a problem as long as you have depth enable 0 on that.
There it is.
Okay. So we got that movie playing now. Let's see here. Let's add some mouse control of this second sphere. Sorry, let's add some keyboard control on top of the mouse control. Let's add a system to enable it or disable it every time we hit the space bar. So to do that, we can just use the same thing that we've used in the past, which is the key object. Let's see, it's this one right here. Yeah, because it's the one we're moving around. Key object. And that will report what key that you press. And if you attach it to the first outlet here, you can see if I type spacebar, it's a 32. Let's use that. That's the ASCII code, by the way, of that number. I mean, of that keystroke. So we can select 32. And then every time we hit the spacebar, this should bang out this outlet. And we can send that to a message enable $1. Actually, here, just grab this over here from your video plane. And just patch that into there and then patch that into your grid shape. And now, every time I hit the space bar, it's on as long as I hold it. And then the next time I hit the space bar, it'll go away. And it will always show up wherever my mouse is when I hit the space bar.
Can you go back to the path?
Key 32 to enable $1. Rich, I just grabbed that enable from the video plane above.
And this should be controlling the what again? I'm sorry.
Into the same grid shape that you have this pack position in.
No, I mean, like, what is the function? Like, what is this actually doing?
So what this is doing is every time we hit spacebar, it's going to either enable that grid shape or disable that grid shape. So it should show up and disappear whenever you hit spacebar and wherever your mouse is.
Set, is it, or SEL, right?
Select, yeah, select 32. Is that not working for you?
It's not working. It is toggling on and off when I hit the space bar, but nothing.
That's really happening.
So
Oh, yes, it does. Sorry.
your JIT world isn't turned on. Oh. So yeah, you would have never seen anything. What is that second window? Do you have something else open?
You mean back there?
Where did that b-ball guy come from?
Oh, I loaded the video to read.
Oh, but it made its own window? Like there was a window over here with the. Okay. Oh, there we go. So, oh, I see. You had that enabled or disabled. Okay. And now go ahead and hit your space. Oh, okay, that's still working. Okay, great. Cool.
Jackson,
Yes.
can you take a quick look? Max just crashed a couple times and had to like start. I'm just got a little bit behind. Like this guy, if this guy's not.
You shouldn't even have a handle right now.
Okay.
I
So
don't
maybe
think
when
we
I
put a
res-
JIT handle on
maybe
anything
when
yet.
I think because when I restored it to the previous, you know what I mean? Like it crashed and then it reopened and it tried to like restore it. So it's probably just like before that. I'm just trying to figure out what.
I don't know.
What was the
Where's
first
your
thing?
JIT handle?
What was the?
That's just a totally different patch.
What was the? Okay, so maybe it restored the wrong thing. Cause it just crashed and I tried to open the last. I'll figure it
Just get rid of this JIT handle.
out. Okay.
That's
This-
not supposed to
this
be
whole
there. We're doing a hit JIT handle later, but we haven't done it yet. I don't know where that came from.
That must be just from last week's version then.
Is
Alright,
it?
I'll figure it out.
Okay. You guys all right? Yes. When you start to what? Okay. Do you have a definite turn? Well, try enable. Turn off this first of all. So there's the ball. It's there. It's just your video playing is in front of the other thing, probably because you rendered that object later. So what we're going to have to do, and I said this earlier, yeah, that you might have problems seeing it if it's behind a video plane. Yeah, okay. What we need to do next is specify layers to make sure that your video layer is always behind your balls. I thought for whatever reason, I thought I didn't have to do this if you made sure that your that you have depth enable 0, but I guess I'm wrong. So let's go ahead and specify layers to all of these to make sure that nothing is ever like especially this JIT GL video plane. I think in this patch we want that to be the background because if I put it in front, we won't see any of the balls. So we can have this one be on layer 0. So we don't actually have to specify a layer for that because by default it's on layer 0. But everything else is on layer 0 is my point. So what we can do is all the other objects, we can give them a layer that's higher than layer 0 and they should be on top. So on all your other grid shapes here, grid shape, put at layer 1. And then down here, this other grid shape, at layer 2.
Are these close or
There we go. Now I can see it.
one dot or
Huh?
are they?
No, they're ints. They're specific layers. They're not a. It's not a range of values. And I think that's our only 2 things right. Well, and then the video plane, we can just, if we want to, let's go ahead and just specify, even though I think by default it's on layer 0. Let's say at layer 0 on this. And that will make sure that's in the back. Okay. So the ball, the ball that changes size is now always in front of the one that moves around with the mouse. you could, if you didn't specify layer, you could have, the way it functions is it's based on its Z depth. So things that are closer to the monitor are going to be on top of things that are further away. All right. So wait, we got the video playing. We got the keyboard control. We specified our layers, and now let's add some JIT-GL handles to these grid shapes. JIT-GL handle is an easy way to move things around and also rotate things. I think we did look at this really briefly last week, but I think it was in a different patch.
No, I still have one.
You have one? What is your JIT handle attached to?
It's attached to grid shape, the
Yeah.
microphone grid shape.
That's what I had.
Okay. Okay.
Set JIT handle or GL handle going into the grid.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's fine. We'll keep that. We're gonna add some more. So wait, it's the one with the microphone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. JIT-GL.handle. And when I attach that, now I can grab this and change its orientation, right? And this thing is really huge, the JIT handle, and it's going to make it difficult when we're moving around more than one thing. So let's change the radius of this like little sphere that it draws. It also changes like the sphere of influence as far as where you're clicking on the screen. You can just specify that by giving it an @radius argument to the JIT-GL handle at radius 0.4. Now I get this nice little thing. But when the thing gets too big, it actually occludes it, but it doesn't matter. Like we can still move it around even if we can't see it. And in fact, you can make these things invisible. Right click on the inlet for the JIT-GL handle and go to where it says visible right here on the second column about halfway down. And you can uncheck that box. And now you can still turn this thing around, but you can't see your JIT-GL handle. Which, you know, you might not, if you're making things interactive, you probably don't want to see that JIT-GL handle.
Wait, how'd you do that? Right click on the JIT-GL handle and
Right click on the inlet for JIT-GL handle and click on visible, and then you can just uncheck the box for visible, and that will make it disappear. All right, so let's add, you got that handle. Let's add a handle to the other one too. Actually, we don't need to add a handle to the one we're moving around with the mouse. We're gonna add another object here in a second. I'm gonna add a handle to that. But one thing I want to show you on this JIT-GL handle, once you have something paired with a handle or bound to a handle, is what the actual terminology is, then what you want to do, if you want to reposition that object, you want to send those position commands to the handle and not the object. I'll show you why. So first of all, with the handle, I'm going to turn off this mouse thing. There we go. It's gone. I got my handle here on this ball. So with this, if I wanted to move this ball's position to somewhere else, you can do that by holding down either the Option or the Command key. If I hold down the Option, it lets me go forward and back in Z space. So I'm getting closer or further away. And if I hold down the Command key, then I'm moving it around in XY, its position in XY space. So that's one way you can move it. You can move it by using those modifier keys and dragging it with your mouse. Or you can send a position command to the handle. So if we wanted this in the lower right-hand corner, position, lower right-hand corner would be like positive 0.8, positive 0.80. I think that will put it in the, now attach that to this JIT-GL handle and send that, and it should push it. Oh, I was wrong because of I was wrong over here. It's probably negative 0.8 because OpenGL is backwards. There it is. Okay, so now it's in the bottom lower right-hand corner. And that, so you can move it around that way, you know, and it doesn't have to be a specific position command. You might have a, you know, position $1 to have a control it with a variable. But you would send it into that handle. If you don't send it in the handle, so now we have our handle at this position 0.8 negative 0.80. Over here on this grid shape, right click on the inlet of the grid shape and go to the where it says position. Where is that? Yeah, there it is. Position, and change the, and it should be like 0.8 what we have. Yeah. If I specify a different position from here and I don't tell it to the handle, go ahead and just put this back to 0. Something close to 0, 0, 0. Come on, why aren't you working? Whatever, it's making me drag things. Won't let me put numbers in. All right, that's close enough. You'll notice that the handle for this is still down here. At least it should be. The handle is wherever you left it. So it makes it hard to find. There it is. Yeah, so my handle is still way down here in the corner where I can't even get to it. Right? So it repositioned the object, but it didn't reposition the handle to control it. So that's why you always want to send it to the handle. Otherwise, you'll be clicking over here and nothing's moving.
Oh, but you can put the handle in a different location.
Yeah, you can if you wanted to, yeah. So, you know, if you wanted to do that, perhaps you had some object that you're controlling here in the middle of the screen, but then you have like little like joystick controls in the bottom and left and right corners. That would be maybe a reason why you'd put the handle in a different position. So let's see, to fix this, what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna delete this position thing. I'm going to respawn my object and reconnect this handle. Then if I send that, it should reposition it to, yeah, great.
What do you respawn? You respawn the handle?
Yeah, actually that will do it. Just respawn the handle. You don't even have to respawn the object. Respawn the handle by adding a character and taking it out. Did that move it? Did that work? Oh, see, now I've respawned my handle and not the other thing. Here, actually, all you have to do is make sure your handle's attached to it and then send the word reset to your handle. That's the best way to do it. And that will just send everything back to the middle.
Sorry, reset goes into
The handle, GL handle.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move this thing over by holding down my control and dragging it over here into the corner. Okay, I can re-enable that. Great, that's still working. Okay, so now let's add, I wanted to show you another, I think I probably showed you this the other day, the JIT GL Play-Doh. Did we look at that? Okay, so that's a way of making platonic solids. Let's just put that in this patch to remind you that that's another option for making jitter 3D objects. And we'll use that also to demonstrate how you can render these as wireframe as well as shaded objects. So let's see, JIT GL.Plato at, let's see. Let's make this a dodecahedron. So we have to give it a shape argument, shape dodeca.
D-O-D-E-C-A.
Yeah. Shape dodeca, and then lighting enable so that we can see it. Underscore enable 1 at
One dot or just one?
1 It's not a value. It's an int. Oh, layer. Let's put it on the top layer. So let's give it a layer 4. At scale, so it's not giant. 0.25. And then now this is how you render things as wireframes. It's called poly mode. At poly _ mode, and then it gives you 2 different ints. And default is 0, 0, and that means that it shades it, it fills it in. But if you say 1, 1, then it will render it as lines. The first one means the front. The second one means the back of the object. So if you had one that said 0 or said 1, 0, you would see lines in the front, but the back half of the object would still be solid. It's like the front half of your textures, and every surface on OpenGL has 2 sides, right? You have the front side and the back side. So that's what you're telling it. You're saying, do you want me to render the front side as wireframe, and do you want me to render the back side as wireframe? So 0 is shaded, 1 is wireframe lines, and you can also do 2. You could say poly mode 2, and that would be dots, just at the vertices. So now we have this dodecahedron that's sitting right here in the middle of the screen. Actually here, the lines are kind of small for that. When it's rendered as wireframe, we can make those lines bigger by giving it an @ line width. And this time it is a float. Let's say 4 period. Now it makes these nice thick lines. Okay, let's give this a JIT-GL handle now. I'm just going to grab this one over here and duplicate it because it already has my radius 4. Put that over there. Now I can move this around. Oh, I wanted to show you this. You can add, in JIT-GL handle, there's an option to do an attribute called @auto rotate 1. This is great. You grab this thing and you start it rotating, and it just keeps rotating. Kind of cool. I'm going to turn off my background video playing. There we go.
And is the number the speed?
No. The number is true or false at auto rotate 1 or at auto rotate 0. Just like most of the attributes that you add are usually like a 1 or a 0 where you're turning something on or turning something off. At blend enable 1, at depth enable 1. Sometimes there's different functions, different modes. Let's see. What's next? I think next is clean this up a little bit. Yeah. So let's close the door. There's a really loud person out there. So let's reposition some things here.
Jackson, is it
Yeah.
like cut off in 3D space or something?
So what's happening there is not getting cut off. It's that those are not lit.
Oh, I see.
Is why. If we added some ambient lighting to this, because by default there's only a directional light.
Right.
If we added ambient lighting, then things that aren't directly lit would not be black. But don't worry about it. It's fine.
So worried.
Let's see. What was I going to do? Oh, right. I was just going to clean this up. So I think, first of all, what I'm going to want to do is all these different things like this mouse state and and the keyboard stuff. I'm not going to directly attach those to the grid shapes anymore. Let's make some sends and receives to clean this up and make it easy. So right here where it says POC position on this mouse state, let's just make a send mouse underscore posts. Send that into that. get this out of here. Now I'm going to condense all of this. Actually, we can just, if we wanted to, you could encapsulate this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to clean it up really quick. So I'm going to move all of my interface objects over to this corner, this side over here. And I'm going to put all of my 3D objects over here. So this, now we have the keyboard enable right here. So let's add a send here. Send key underscore enable. Move this over here. And then we have this thing. It was attached to the same thing that we just took off over here, this grid shape. And actually here, before we forget where these go, let's add the receives in. Duplicate the send mouse posts and attach it back over to the grid shape where you just moved that stuff from. Receive. Make sure you turn the send into a receive. Patch that in there. I got this key enable over here. I'm gonna patch this in over here. Sorry, I can't fit very much in my screen. Yeah, and then, so now we got that kind of cleaned up a little bit. Let's see, I'll move this video plane stuff into over here. This video plane is a 3D object, so I'm going to put it on this side. So let's get this microphone thing out of here. So that's right here. So we just call this mic scale, right? Send mic underscore scale. And delete this patch cord. And right now, before I forget, let's go ahead and put the receive mic scale here. And now I can get all of this stuff out of here and move it over.
Does that go into?
To the grid shape, right?
It goes into the grid shape over here, yeah. The one that was, you know.
Right, I have two scales. I'm just trying to figure out what.
Should only, okay. This scale was just, yes, you're right. This scale was to manually change the scale. We don't even need this anymore.
So that goes away.
We can get rid of that if you want, or you can leave it there. All right, we want to keep these handles and stuff. I was going to keep this message so that you could see how you could reposition it by sending it a message. And the reset will reset that handle's position to 0, 0, and the orientation to be facing you. Okay. So when something is auto-rotating, you can stop it rotating just by clicking on it once, and that stops it. You can't like slow it down, unfortunately. It just kind of is either going one direction, and it has kind of a minimum speed. Okay, let's see. So that's looking a lot cleaner now. I'm going to comment this, and these are interface objects. These are texture objects. And actually, this belongs over here, this Play-Doh. And these are 3D objects. So that makes sense. All your stuff that's rendered in 3D space, I grouped over here. All the stuff that's interfacing with that, with your keyboard and your mouse, I grouped over here. And then so far, we just have one texture object, this movie. But we're going to add another one here in a second. We're going to add some live video, which we haven't even looked at yet this semester. So it's great. Finally get into it. object to add live video is called jit.grab. Are you guys all still with me? Well, is any I can pause for a second if you want. If you're stuck somewhere. Is it just that you had it working and then you moved things around and now you can't remember where it goes, or what's going on?
No, it's just,
You're fine? Okay. All right, so jit.grab, create, in order for this to output, open the help file for it. It needs bangs, render, it needs a metro bangs, and you just need to send the message open. And by default, if you're running on a laptop, it should just be your camera. If you're Windows, I don't know if it works differently. If it's not working and you're on a Windows machine, I can't really help you. Is it working? Oh, good, perfect. Is it not working for anybody on the help file here at least? Where you turn it on, you say open, and you should see yourself down here.
you have to turn on the toggle. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, okay, great. So it should work for everybody, that's great. So we just need to send this open command and we need to send it bangs from the metro. But the problem is we don't have a metro in our patch here because the metro was encapsulated as part of this jit.world when they made that new object in Max 7. But you can still get those bangs from the metro. They come out of the second outlet here where it says render draw bang. So let's just put a send here on this, send draw bang. And now we can receive that draw bang over here.
And the second inlet in from JitWorld.
Second outlet, yes. No problem. Receive the draw bang over here, and if we put a JIT P window real quick just to make sure it's working, we should see a camera. There we go. Is that working for everybody?
Sorry, how do I get the window again?
JIT.P window.
Oh, and you have to send an open.
Yeah, you have to send the open command to the JIT.grab to actually open the camera. And if you have a Mac laptop, your little green light next to your camera should turn on when it opens the camera. Okay, so this is matrix data. So anything that we've previously done with videos, you could pass the JIT grab and do the same thing with the camera matrix as you did from a video file. So any of the previous patches, if you want to edit them and make them work for live video, this would be all you'd have to do. But matrix is a step backwards for us, right? Because we've moved on to textures now, which are much faster. And so what we're going to do is set this JIT grab up for sending out textures instead of a matrix. So it works the same way as the JIT movie as far as the attributes for setting it up for textures. And that's at output texture 1 underscore texture 1. And then we need to give it a unique texture name, at texture name. And what did we call the first one? What did we call it? MyText. So let's call this one MyText2. At name MyText2. Okay, that won't work anymore. We don't need it anyway. You'll probably have to hit the open key again. And now we just need another object in our JIT world to texture with the MyText2. We could just copy this video plane like we did before, but I want to show you how you can texture non-video planes for different rotational and scaling purposes. So let's just texture a regular grid shape with the shape of a plane. Let's duplicate this over here, this GL grid shape, and let's specify a shape at shape plane.
So this is a new grid shape, right?
Yes, this is a brand new one. And then let's change the scale here to scale 1, 1, 0. Oh, so, yeah, 0. Well, actually, just say 1, 1. You don't even need to give it a third one because it's the plane. It doesn't have any Z scale. And then put the layer as layer 5. It's on top of everything. You can see because it's on top of everything, some things are in front of it that we've moved. Some things may be in front of it if you moved it with your handle. But if I put this back below it, then it'll disappear. So actually, let's make this scale smaller. I was wrong. Just so that things. Where did I put it? Oh, at plane. There it is. So just change the scale here where it says at scale 1, 1. Let's make this at scale 0.3, 0.3. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. And then we just need to say, give it the texture name at texture. My text 2. What just happened there? That's not it. Did that do did it do the same thing with you guys where all of a sudden there's like this sphere that showed up?
Yeah, I had an extra sphere show up.
Did I put it? Oh, I might have put it. Oh, I put it in the wrong one. That's why. Jeez. Make sure you're doing it on the thing that said at shape plane. There we go. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Oh, weird.
All right, so now you see this camera, but it's kind of weird looking. It's kind of dim, and that's because of the default color of the grid shape. And the default color, it multiplies the texture by the default color, and the default color is kind of a 50% gray color. So we just need to specify. Give it a white color. So right here, after my texture, my text 2, say at color 1 period 1 period 1 period 1 period, and now it's full brightness. Right? Let's add another JIT GL handle to this grid shape, and now you can see that you can move a video plane. Actually, I'm going to take off the auto rotate. That's going to drive me crazy. On this particular one, you can move move and rotate a live video layer. Yes.
I have a video that's now mapped onto a sphere.
So then you probably on the sphere. You maybe put it on the wrong. Yeah, I got the same thing. It's because I applied that to one of the spheres instead of the plane. So where is my text 2?
This
Right
is my
there.
text too, yeah.
Yeah. Did you specify? You never specified that it was a plane. No, that's
Here I did, right?
you need no space. Okay.
Oh, weird. But my video is going to like my video player instead of the camera.
What did you?
I copied and pasted the grid shape. Does that matter?
Probably. Look at what your texture says. At texture my text or at texture my text 2.
Output texture 1 at texture underscore name my text 2.
Yeah, you just have your texture wrong on whatever one. You have the name of the texture wrong on whatever doesn't look right. It's a plane now, right?
Yeah.
But it's the wrong video. It's a video instead of thing. What is your jit.movie up here say as its texture name?
Jit.movie is
at texture underscore name my text, right?
Texture, my text. Yeah.
Texture underscore name my text.
At texture, space, at texture, my text.
No, that's wrong. Look at the JIT movie here. It's a
Movie at output underscore texture 1.
at texture my text volume 1. Texture name my text. Yeah. Okay. So that's, and just make sure that the other one has my text 2 as its name. And that should fix it. Okay. Actually, I think that's already playing. I just need to either turn this on. Yeah, there we go. All right, so that's all I was going to do, I believe, on this. No, there was one other thing, and it was camera controls. Oh, wow, I see what happened there. Okay. Yeah, there's camera controls. So this is the last piece of the puzzle for JIT 3D. Oh, and there was one other thing I wanted to show you too. So first of all, something that is often useful that you'll need when you're working in the theatrical world is the ability to warp your image if your projector isn't perfectly in line. And a lot of times you'll just need a simple 4-corner pinning as opposed to a really complicated mapping system. I mean, if you need mapping, then I would definitely suggest using something other than Max. You could probably figure out how to do it in Max, but it's a lot easier a lot of times to use Mad Mapper or something like that, using a siphon out of Max. But if you just need some corner pinning, it's built into the jit.world. Open the help file for jit.world, and right here where it says, oh, actually, it's just an Atrui, I forgot. Just right-click on the inlet for the jit.world, actually, and find where it says enable enable corner pin. Let's see, where is that? Or maybe it just says corner pin. There it is. It's like the 6th one down, enable corner pin. All you have to do is turn that on, and that takes the entire render and draws these those little circles at the corners, and now you can take those, whoops, I guess I'll stay in my window mode. You can drag these around and line them up with what you want it to map to. There we go.
I'm sorry, how do you use corner pin?
By enabling corner pin on this right here, by adding that Atrui by right-clicking on the inlet. No, it wasn't. And then when you want those to go away, just turn that off. Turn off the enable corner pin, and then it stays in that shape, but takes away the little handles. Okay, what if we screwed this up royally and it's taking us forever to reset it, and we want it just to go back to normal? If you want to do that, then we need to send to the corner pin object that's built into the jit.world the word reset. In order to do that, we have to prepend the word send corner pin to whatever we send into the jit.world, and that will make sure that that message goes to the corner pin part. So prepend send corner pin. And now just send reset into that prepend. And then it'll put it back to normal without your corner pinning. Okay, one more thing, and that is camera controls. So we specified, or by default, there's a camera built into jit.world, but it's a static camera. It doesn't move, and it just shows you at this view. We can, let's see. Yeah, I got all that. Okay, great. We can move the camera around by overriding the built-in camera and adding our own camera that we can move around or do different things to. And that the object to add a camera is called JIT-GL camera. So just let's see here. I'm trying to clean this up as I go. It's not doing it very well, but good enough. Find a spot. Let's see. Where should I put the camera? Probably. All right. We got a texture objects here. Doesn't matter. Just put it in any. I usually put my camera underneath my renderer, so I'm going to put it right here by my JIT-GL world. Right here. JIT-GL camera. Okay, nothing's going to change, I don't think, when you put that in there, because by default it's going to have the same settings as the camera built into the JIT world. But if we want the ability to move this camera around, if we wanted to, we could send it some position messages. You could right-click on this and go to, let's see, find where it says position. Position on the second column. And that's where the camera is right now. I could move it to the right and all those, you know, see these things move based on, because it's like the camera is moving. But most of the time you want to look at the center of your universe and you just want to kind of rotate it and look at it at different angles. There's a way to lock that in, and it's called lock look, where you're locking the look of the camera. So if you move the camera's position, it automatically rotates itself to always be looking at that one spot. So just add the attribute at lock look 1. What are you looking at? Well, by default, you're looking at 0, 0, 0. You can send it a message, look at, you know, 1, 1, 2, or whatever coordinates you want it to look at. But by default, it looks at 0, 0, 0. We're not going to have time to go over a lot of camera positioning controls, like how to change different look-ats. But the online file that I'm uploading today has a bonus section that goes over that. So if you're interested in that, take a look at it. But what we do want is the ability to move this camera around a little bit. And there's an object that will allow you to move things with your keyboard. You know, we've been doing the position. We probably could figure out something with the mouse, but it would screw it up really quick when, as soon as you rotate your view a little bit, all of a sudden your X, Y, and Z mouse don't make sense for where you are now. What you need is an object that's actually going to drive your object around. You're going to drive forward and turn to the left and drive thing. It's called jit.anim.drive. Jit.anim.drive. Anim stands for animation. There's a whole bunch of jit.anim objects. They're very advanced stuff for models and stuff like that. You'll probably be looking at them the advanced jitter class if you take that. But for now, we'll just look at the most commonly used one, which is jit.anim.drive. And I almost always use this with a keyboard interface, and it has a built-in interface called, you just need to add the parameter at UI listen 1. Now, if you have at UI listen 1, that UI underscore listen stands for user interface, and you have your window highlighted, you can use your gaming controls, WASD, to move the camera around. And yeah. And because you have lock look 1, you shouldn't move your camera. I mean, even if you move your camera really far away, those things should still be on the screen because it's always looking at those.
Jackson, I'm sorry, what's after? I just can't see it. What is after anim drive?
At UI listen 1. Okay.
How can you?
Hmm?
Can you? Is there a way to pivot?
Up and down.
Yeah.
Q and Z. I'm gonna turn off my background because it's so busy. It's driving me crazy. Let's see. There it is. Turn off that. There we go. So now you have a whole bunch of different options for how you want your interactive patch to interact. You can move things around by driving them. That drive, by the way, JIT A&M drive, you don't have to just put that on a camera. You could put it on a grid shape and drive around the grid shape too. So you have JIT A&M drive, you have JIT handle. You can move things around with that or rotate them. You have your mouse control that we did. We have the sound control. So play around, have some fun, make some things that react, and try to do something interesting.
Is there a way to designate certain objects that ignore the camera?
What do you mean?
Like if you just wanted a full screen background, and you say like the camera is only for certain.
Well, sure. Look at your movie right now. This video plane is ignoring the camera.
Mine?
Well, it should be. Then make sure that your video plane here has at depth enable 0 and at transform reset 2.
I just opened a JIT.andom.drive editor. What's that used for?
That, I believe, is for remapping which keys do what.
Sick.
So if you wanted to remap WASD to be, you know, J, H, U, and K, you could. Or maybe you had two A&M drives, one for player 1, which is WASD, and the other one for player 2, which is the arrows or something. I don't know.
Nice.
Let's see. Is that everything I wanted to go over on this patch? Yeah, basically.
My Anim drive hasn't really been working. I might have something.
Do you have it attached to your JIT GL camera?
Yes.
Do you have that UI listen 1 with the spaces correct?
Oh, hold on. I think that's it.
Another thing you can add to your camera to keep it from changing its height. I often use this another attribute called at tripod 1. And that will always keep it at the same height and distance. But you can you can still use the WASD to look at it. Or I mean, to move it around.
Will you jump back to the path for a second?
To what?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, and you know, you can change the shape on any of these too. So this one that right over here, you know, the thing that's changing by the mic, you know, you could change that to a torus if you wanted. Donut. You can texture these as well. Like, you know, these objects can be textured. We textured this plane. We could texture a sphere or a torus. It would look weird, but it would work. Let's see. I'll just change the shape of what I've textured here. If I right click on this and go over here to shape somewhere. Where is shape? There it is. And change it from a plane to a sphere. Yeah. Oh, right. It has a scale of 0 on the Z scale, so it's like a flat disk. Yeah, there we go. So now I've textured this sphere. That's cool. All right. All right, so let's move on. Save this as 12.1. And let's make a 12.2 now. We can close this. New patcher. Save as 12.2. This is shader. We're going to move into shaders. Wait, I need to make sure I put it in the right place. Documents. There we go, class 12. Shaders. So shaders are, video effects. And they all work with textures. All right, so to start out, we're going to need a jit.world again. And toggle to turn it on. And we're going to need those render bangs again. From the second outlet of this JIT world. And we forgot. Let's specify our black erase color, right? Because otherwise it's going to have this gray color. So to specify our erase color, we can say @erase color 0, 0, 0, 1. We got our erase color. And let's see. We're gonna start with some videos and some movies, jit.movies and some video planes. Jit.movie at output texture 1, right? Because we're working with textures. We need to give it a texture name at texture underscore name. Let's just call this text1. Okay. And let's duplicate this. And this one will be at text2. Okay, we're going to need some read messages. And we're going to need video planes to put these on. jit.gl.videoplane at texture text1. And then we're going to want to be able to blend these. So say at blend enable 1. Okay. Read a movie into this first one. And let's see. Why don't I see anything? That texture text1.
Should we add something else? Because mine says name text1 is already in use.
Maybe mine does too. Hold on. Oh, it's probably because that probably happened when you duplicated it. That error probably doesn't exist anymore once you renamed it to text2. Why is it not working? Geo video plane. Texture1 at unique. Maybe I need to have render bangs, I guess.
Oh, mine's working.
It is?
Yeah.
What's different?
I'm looking.
I just have a white square.
Yeah.
You have a white. Oh, there we go. My world got turned off. That's all that happened. All right. You have a white square?
Yeah.
Names yet?
Then make sure you've read a movie into your movie player.
Yeah.
Do your texture names match?
Do your texture names match?
Yeah.
No, what she said. So does everybody have a white square other than Gilly? You have video? Okay,
That'll work.
great. I'm going to keep moving. I'm sure you guys will figure out what's wrong with your white square. It's probably because you've misspelled your texture name. Maybe you said texture space name instead of texture underscore name here. All right. So I found a way the other day it's an easy system to make this texture, I mean the plane that we're mapping the movie on, have the correct aspect ratio. It's pretty simple. All we need to do is take the dimensions of the video coming out of this dump outlet, which we can get by sending a message get dim into the movie outlet, and then it should say, if you put a message over here, it'll say dim 320/240. Then all we need to do with that is route out the word dim. Route dim. What was that sound? Oh, okay. I thought somebody was going,
I just thought the sound that make an agreement.
And now just do a little bit of math on this. And it expression, EXPR, and all it is $float1 divided by $float2. Whoops, and then end parentheses.
Whoa, yeah.
That's a formula.
Oh, got it.
$float1 divided by $float2. Send that in there.
Because it was $float one.
And then you just have to say message scale whoops, spelled scale wrong. $1, because that's the X scale, and then 1 and 1. Yeah. I'm going to zoom out now. And send that into the video plane.
Why?
And now all you have to do is say get dim, and it automatically resizes it. Get dim. So you see what, put the message here to see what message it's composing. So it figures out automatically that first X, the aspect ratio needs to be 1.3 to 3. 1.333 to 3. Or 1.3 to 3 to 1 is what I meant. So yeah, I didn't actually figure that out. Pablo figured that out. All right, moving on. We're going to add the ability to turn this off. Let's add an enable. You can just say message enable dollars. Whoops, damn it. Enable $1. Toggle over here. All right, 218. I think we'll be okay. We're going to get through half of the shader stuff today. Yeah. So now we can turn this off if we want. Great. You're going to want, when you're updating your final project, when you're upgrading this to texture base and you're using shaders and so forth, you're going to want to be able to turn everything on and off. So just keep that in mind as you're building your final project, to have a bunch of enables everywhere and have the ability to send to the correct enable. All right, and we're going to have a second movie player and video plane. Actually, here, instead of doing this all over again, let's just copy. Let's get rid of this and copy everything here. And duplicate again. Drag this over here. And then just change here text 1 to text 2. And down here at texture text 1, change that to texture text 2. So now we have this player on top of the other player. In order to be able to make this transparent, all we have to do is change its alpha value of its color. The video plane, remember a video plane, even though we usually texture it with video, it is a OpenGL 3D object that has color. And if it's opaque, if the color is opaque, you won't be able to see through it. So we just send message color, just color, 1, 1, 1, and then $1, because that the last one, the fourth color thing is the opacity, is the alpha value. And then just put a float into that, and you should be able to lower this down. Did that not work? And that should be going into the video plane. Is yours working? God dang it. Why is my stuff not working today?
I work.
Good.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, my effects being.
Maybe I have to have a movie playing. Maybe that's why. There you go. Yeah, now it is working, but for whatever reason, I'm not seeing the thing behind it. Blend enable 1. Well, first of all, I'm going to get rid of this. It's driving me crazy. Add volume 0. Read. Ozone, whatever. It's a layering thing, I think. My other one's in front of this one. All right, whatever. Just add this color over here. Unlock. There we go. Grab this that you did on this texture and bring it over here. And bring the color down on that. And you should now be able to see the one. Did it stop? For the love of Pete! Where is my damn video playing? There it is. It's there.
Yeah, it disappeared.
Yeah, it's there. Okay. My blending is just not blending for some reason. Oh, wait. No? No, that didn't do it. 8, 9. It's definitely, mine's able to zoom out. I'm just not being able to see them on top of each other for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's over here in the, maybe in the JIT.world, maybe I have to say at blend enable. Does this have blend enable? No, it doesn't even have that option. Shit. Well, poop. Doesn't matter. If these don't blend, I'll come back to making those blend later. They don't need to blend right now. Now they just disappeared though.
I had to reread my video.
That's probably what happened, yeah. Here, we don't even need the second video layer. For now, I'll come back to this because we're gonna look at this again next week. And we'll look at that second video layer and making them blend next week. Just get rid of this second video and the second player and the second layer. Sorry I'm a little bit lost right now. It's because my notes crashed right before class started, and so I lost all my notes. So I'm trying as best I can to reconstruct what I had. And now let's see if I can get this to, okay, great. I got the one video playing now and it's working. So let's just work on this and we'll worry about the other video layer next week. Let's add a shader to this. So in order to add, there's a couple different, there's two different objects that can hold shaders. And we're gonna look at one of them today and one of them next week. The first one we're gonna look at this week is called JIT-GL shader. And it is meant to hold a single shader to work on a single video layer. The other object that we'll look at next week is called JIT-GL slab. And it's for taking two different video textures and like multiplying them with that kind of like a compositing shader or something like that. JIT-GL video plane, sorry, JIT-GL shader. And then we need to give it a name. We need to tell what we're going to call this shader. At name my underscore shader. Okay, I'm still zoomed in. Jeez, there we go. And you have to, shaders are like a movie player. You have to read the shader file into the JitGL shader. You can send read into it, and it'll open up a dialog box. And the shaders, I believe, if you have your little, no, where is it? I think they're saved in the Cycling 74 directory somewhere. Jitter. So if you go up here, you should see something like resources and contents, C74. Go into C74 and go to Jitter. Is that there? Do I see anything? No. Media, maybe it is. Jitter and shaders. Are you sure it wasn't in my directory already? Oh, it is in my shortcut already. If you already have this shortcut to where your movies are stored, there's a directory in where your movies are stored that's called shaders. And you open that, then there's all these different types of shaders. So this is really complex to get to all this crap. I figured out a way to populate a U menu to give you all of your shaders at once. Let's just do that because it's really complicated to figure out if you're just reading a specific shader. First thing we need to do is populate the U menu by asking you to specify what folder you want. And there's an object called open dialog, and it opens up this dialog box to specify what folder. But by default, open dialog only wants to give you the path of a file, a specific file, but not a folder. But you can make it do folders just by saying folder. Open dialog fold, sorry. Okay, so now it will, and then send a bang into that. And then that will, when you bang that, will open this dialog. And then you just choose your, choose the shaders folder. And just don't click on anything else. Once you see this list of different shaders, just say open. And then that will send that path out this outlet. But we have to format it first. We prepend, sorry, not message, prepend the word prefix and send that into a U menu. And that will populate this U menu with everything in that folder. It should. Yeah, after you say open. Fuck me. Nothing is working today. Hold on, let me open up my real thing and see what it's supposed to be. I don't know why that didn't work. Isn't that what I just had? Copy. Don't save. We have a class. Is it one of the students who's late? Maybe. Yes? Oh. Wow. Why didn't that work for... This class is till 3, right? Yeah, it is. We still have a half hour. Should be, if I can get this thing to start working, should be enough time. It's supposed to do that, where once I say open, it's supposed to create this list like this.
Yeah, mine's not doing that.
Mine isn't doing that either, except for where I bring it in. I don't know what the difference between these two things are. Open. What is wrong with you? Ugh. All right, maybe there's something on the help file we can steal. Let's see. Something like, no, they don't have a list of shaders I can steal somewhere. Well, whatever. I guess we'll have to read them.
That other one's working?
What? This one that I stole from my help, that the thing that this was working fine, but I don't know why it's not working when I reproduce it. And it's not like I can give this to you guys unless I email it to you or something. When I reproduce this, rebuild it, it doesn't work. I don't know why. Open dialog, fold, bang, prepend prefix, and send that into a U menu. All right, is anything coming out? Is there any mess? Wait, am I getting? I guess I should check my Max window, see if there's any red. All right, what's going on there? JIT grab, nothing. That's all old errors. All right, I can put a message coming out of this prepend prefix to see if it's even sending anything. And it does. It says prefix, and then it gives me the prefix. And I thought that if you send that to a prefix, maybe I have to change the mode. Make sure to turn on auto populate and folder depth, whatever that means. Auto populate, that's it. Okay, I put that note there for a reason. Auto populate, turn that to 1.
This is
Under the U menu. You have to go into the inspector for a U menu. So stupid, I'm sorry guys. Inspector for U menu, and there's something called auto populate. You have to make sure to say that is checked. And then there's something called folder depth. Folder depth 0. 1, I don't know. Try that.
What's your other one?
Yeah, there we go. Great. Set the folder depth as 1.
What's it under?
It's under the
Oh, I see.
inspector for U menu.
Your file.
All right. Yeah. Folder. Oh, on my original one, I had a folder depth of 2. I don't know if that matters, but let's go ahead and just do that. Set your folder depth to 2. That means it can drill down to 2 subfolders and give you all the files in those subfolders as well. That's what that folder depth is. All right, so now that I got one that works, I can get rid of these.
Under the U menu is folder depth?
Yes, under the U menu, yeah. All right, let's make that comment again. Make sure to turn on auto populate and folder depth 2. Bubble. All right. Great. Sorry that wasted some time. All right, now we can send this. The second outlet of this U menu will give you the text that you see there. If you went out the first outlet, it'd only give you the number of in what position that you chose. But we want the actual text, and we can just say read $1 and send that into the JIT GL shader. And so now let's go ahead and let's start with BRCOSA, because we're familiar how that works. We've seen that before. But this is the shader version of BRCOSA. So go into this this list, and find where it says cc.brcosa.jxs. Shaders you'll find are always .jxs. And that will send the read command into this JIT GL shader. And now we will want to be able to change the parameters of this shader. And the way shaders work, their syntax is, so you never know exactly what parameters a shader has, because all shaders have different parameters based on how they're programmed. if you double click on the JIT-GL shader, you can actually see the programmed shader language. And here you see that we've loaded cc.brcosa.jxs. And you see all these params are defined here under this name. Don't worry, you're not going to have to code this way. This is just showing you guys this stuff. But you see there's, image, average luma, contrast, brightness, saturation, alpha. Those are your parameters. But, if I loaded a kaleidoscope effect, it would have a whole different set of parameters. It wouldn't have brightness and contrast. So you never know what your parameters are going to be. So a lot of times you'll need to get what's called a parameter list. Message get param list. Yeah, param list. Get param list. And send that into the JIT-GL shader. And then out of the dump outlet, out of the second outlet, that it will return all of its parameters. And it starts with param list, and then it says image, average luma, contrast, brightness, saturation, alpha. So if you ever want to know what the parameters are for a shader, just say get param list and attach a message or some other thing to the dump outlet to pick up those parameters.
And then do you have to trigger it or something in order to get that?
Just send the word get param list into the shader right here. So that would get it. If I deleted that and I sent get param list, you see it outputs it. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, I did that. It's not working. Maybe
Then you probably haven't loaded a shader into it. When you double click on JIT-GL shader, does it say CC-BR-COSA up here?
I just misspelled things.
Oh, okay. Great. All right, so let's start with contrast and brightness. We could just, if we wanted to, we could just make the message param brightness $1, and then send a float into that, and then send that right into the JIT-GL shader. That would work great until we change the shader to something else that didn't have that parameter, and then all of a sudden that wouldn't work anymore. But for now, let's just leave that because it's simple, and then we'll build an adaptive system in here in a minute. So this has got brightness. Let's turn the brightness up to like 2, and we don't see anything yet because we haven't applied this shader to anything. So we've now, this GL shader is holding the shader. It's holding a BR-COSA shader. And right now it's got default values except for brightness, which we specified to have as brightness of 2. So now we just have to apply that shader to the video plane that's displaying the video. And all I have to do there is say at shader, and what do we call it? My shader, my underscore shader. And now it gets, you can see it's gotten brighter. And it's applied that shader. Go ahead and let's add contrast. So let me just duplicate both of these. And change this brightness to contrast. And duplicate this. And change contrast to saturation. Patch those in. So now you could change the contrast if you wanted to. You could change the saturation and so forth. You can even do these in negative numbers too. Remember that can give you some cool effects like the negative video. So in your final mixing patch, you're going to have, I believe the requirements are 2 different shaders for channel mix effect stack. So in order to have a stack, you have to have at least 2 effects. So we'll we'll be going over how to stack those when we do slabs next week. We still have 10 more minutes. Let's see, what can I do? Oh, the adaptive system. We still have to build that. So this works great. These specific messages work great for this shader. But what if I wanted to put a kaleidoscope shader on there? I would need to have some kind of system that's going to adapt itself to the parameters for the new shader that I've loaded. So in order to do that, let's see. Let's send the dump outlet to somewhere, and we'll say send param list, because that's where it's going to be coming from. Param list. Okay, and let's receive that over here. And then let's see. Try param list, and then trigger list clear iter. Okay. I feel like I had to route, but it's not saying to. All right, whatever. Trigger list and clear. Trigger list and clear. That the clear message, we're going to send this into a U menu, and the clear is going to be able to clear whatever was there before adding whatever we're going to add. Because we don't want, if we are adding items to a U menu, and we just loaded all the parameters of brCosa, and then we add the parameters of Kaleidoscope, then you're going to have both of them in the list, and we only want one. So we need to clear what's there, then load what the new parameters is. So the first thing that happens is when the parameter list comes in, it clears out whatever is already in this U menu, which we haven't even made yet. U menu, sorry. Send that clear into that U menu, so that would clear out whatever happened to be there. And then we'll just need to iter through the param list. Sorry, that's not it. Get out of there. Get out of there. And there's an object called iter, which will take a list and go through them one item at a time. And then we'll need to, so that's iterating through that list. That's what iter is short for, iterate. And then we just append each of the items of that list. Prepend, right, means put this message before that, and we're prepending the word append, because U menu, when you're adding items, wants the word append and then the item, and then it comes out with what it is. So now if we send this get param list over here, it'll say param list and then this various different parameters. We can even, if we wanted to, we could even route param list to get rid of that param list. We're never going to choose the word param list. That's not a parameter. This will get rid of the word param list. And so those are the different parameters in this, but let's go ahead and let's load, it's down at the very bottom. It's called TD, text displace, td.kaleido.gaxs. Look at it now. We've loaded this new shader that's a kaleidoscope. So those are just the default values of that kaleidoscope shader. But we can use this system to create our custom values, and all we have to do is whatever we choose from this list. So now to get the new param list, we can click over here to get param list, and now those are the params of this: scale, offset, origin, div, and text 0. What that means, it depends on the shader, and it can be sometimes hard to figure it out. I usually just figure it out by playing around with the parameters and seeing what they do. because it really just depends on what the shader is and how it's programmed as to what the parameter does specifically. So for this, I know that the only real one for Kaleidoscope that you see that really makes a difference is the divisions. It's like how many times are you dividing that up? So let's add that to a message down here and just say divisions. So then it will say that. But what we need to do actually is this should be, sorry, this is the part where my notes got all messed up. We need to create, we're creating the message param, right? The same, we're basically, we need to compose this kind of message right here, this param contrast or whatever it is. It'll be, for Kaleidoscope, it'll be param division and then $1. So in order to create a dynamic system to do that, we need to use a prepend. I keep hitting the wrong button. New object, prepend param, because we need, that will always be in there. So whatever we choose from this menu, we're going to prepend the word param before it. And then after it, we'll need to append $1 because we need that to go to that message so that it will, that message box will have the wildcard in it. And then you can send that to the right inlet of a message. And now go ahead and just choose something here. Choose div, and you see now it's created that message the same syntax that we have over here, where it says param div1, and we just need to float into the left inlet of this message, and then send this to the shader. In this case, you know, we probably want an int, but we can just keep it as a float and it will work as an int, because with the divisions there's no such thing as a half division. So it's going to be in, you know, 2 divisions or 3 divisions or 5 divisions, 7 divisions. I don't know if that's really doing something. Let's see. Yeah. See what that's doing? The more divisions, the more intricate this is. All right, does that make sense? Is anybody lost? I have about 10 minutes I can help fix. I don't think it's worth moving on, so I can help fix your guys' stuff in the next 10 minutes if anything isn't working. What?
Where did you select the Kaleidoscope?
All right, so I selected that from my,
Oh, that's the action I see.
that's over here. It's what we choose right here from this list, from this U menu, the one above the open dialog folder. Let's comment this. This is choose your shader. Bubble. Okay. Any other questions? Is anybody's not working?
Yeah, I'm gonna take some time to figure it out.
All right, so it's probably. All right, so is that? All right, so what isn't working first of all?
Well, I think I have a different menu when I go. So
Oh, well, yeah, so that's different. Yeah, Max 7, probably resources, jitter, shaders. There you go. Say okay.
and then,
Just say okay.
oh, just,
And now that should, now click on that, and now choose kaleidoscope. Should be down in the TV text displays one, texture displays. Kaleidoscope, or fisheye, or any of Kaleido. Oh, fisheye's fine. Kaleido. And let's take a look at your video. It should. Oh, just let's see your window. Oh, so you're not seeing anything. Turn your world on and off. Maybe your world got off. No. Were you seeing the video before?
I don't think so. No. Well, it was when we earlier when we were doing the parameter of brightness and contrast.
Uh-huh.
But I think that was before we added this.
Yeah, I think that's
when
just
this
because
popped
the
up.
video
That's when.
Okay. So first of all, here, let's unload the shader. Here's another thing I forgot to show you. So if you want to unload your shader and turn it off to no shader at all, just in the JIT-GL shader, just send the word shader with no shader file. And that will turn that shader to, that will disable, well, it should. No, I'm sorry, not the JIT-GL shader. Sorry, the JIT-GL video plane, where we said, you know, we said at shader, my shader, right? If we could change that by saying shader, you know, shader 2 or shader 3. Or if we want no shader whatsoever, we just say shader without an argument. And that will turn off that shader. Does that make sense? So I have shader here, and then I can also have shader my underscore shader. So I can send those messages into the JIT-GL video plane to load those shaders or unload that shader. Does that make sense? Right. So did you unload the shader? And did the video show up then? Just click this shader first of all. That shader. Oh, no, the one that just says shader. So your video should play now if it's working. There you go. Great. Now go ahead and say, put the shader, my shader back in there. Oh, shader, my shader.
Rise up and shade my video.
There we go. Okay, it's working.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You must have had something wrong somewhere. Maybe it was the get dim thing. Maybe you changed your dimensions.
It was when I hit that, the video popped up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, now go ahead and choose param list. Go ahead and click get param list here to trigger your new param list. Now go over here and go to div, and now it should create this message over there. And now go ahead and change your divisions to something huge or bigger and slide it around. It should work. Yeah. What? All right, so yeah, it shouldn't be a 0 there. Param missed is probably your problem there. Did you say? Well, that is what you sent it from. All right. Well, first of all, route param list, not param ist. That's probably why list. No, you said paraist. Param list. PARAMLIST. There you go. Now it should work. You gotta send the word get param list over there again. No? Let's see. Wait, are you actually sending it? Did you? Oh, right. So you spelled that wrong too. There you go. Now it's working. And I would, as long as you have fixing spelling errors, why don't you fix this param list there? And
Sorry, what was
Is your
Received.
parameter list sending?
I believe, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I fixed it. It's working.
That's the one
You're
thing that's.
Yours isn't working?
No, but it looks like I spelled it right.
Get param list. That's fine.
Send from list.
Param list. You know, if you double click this send, double click it, it will say whether there's a receive. So if you see no receive, then you know you spelled one wrong, but you didn't. So that's not it. So route param list trigger hitter append here. Well, put a message over here. Here, set your laptop down.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to collaborate with the classmates who don't worry about what that. Okay. No, my computer's super slow. I finally have time to take it to the Apple store today, but not right this second. Yeah, it'll take an infinity for a message box to appear. If you tell someone else while I do that, that's
Does anybody else have problems?
I have a problem with the scale thing. The bigger kaleidoscope.
You just need to, in order for that to work, you have to hit the word get dim. Okay, so get dim, probably your routing, route dim. Okay. Well, put a message box, let's make sure that something is coming out there.
This one's going to be next.
Alright, but nothing is coming out here. Oh, that's just because it should be going to the right inlet of that message box. And let's make sure, okay, so that is kind of working. Scale, 1.3, wait, 30, oh. Is it? Maybe that's what.
That's weird. Fixing that, I fixed this. Okay, I'll take it. I'm not gonna argue.
Are you talking about this black stuff on the side?
It must have been that you just sent it a different dimension, or a different scale at some point.
Does it work if you make it really big?
Or maybe you what?
I was just following along, but mine still does it if I get like super big.
Alright, so just to reiterate, guys, take a look at the website. The homework is just to do something interactive with 3D objects and to texture one of them, at least one of them, with either video or live camera.
I have a message box now. So do I connect it to?
And please, and next week just email me. It'll be due on the day of class, but you'll email it to me. Okay.
So do I connect the message box too?
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is just if you're having any troubles or anything, we're going to be just going over and reviewing stuff next week. So have things you want to talk about. Yeah, I'm sorry. What's that?
So I have a message box now that I connect it to. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
you did make a message
What
box.
were we doing?
Because it's not, this isn't receiving the parameter list for some reason. But
So we're going to
everything
see
else
what
is
was coming out of that.
So you just wanna,
To the right inlet, yeah. And say get param list, make sure that there's stuff coming out. Okay, that's right. All right. So then over here, put a message box over here and make sure that it's coming out of the route, correct? No, out of the route. Let's just check it at each stage and make sure it's working. Now click on the get param list again. Okay, so that's working. So then it's probably something over here. I think there's two P's and a pen. I think that's what it is.
You know, you might be right, because when I went to make the append object, it yelled at me because it didn't yell at me, it turned orange. Because.
There we go. Now I think that should work. Go ahead and say get param list again. And now.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Yay, thanks. This was the most fun Jupyter class yet.
Oh, good.
I
felt so lost because my notes got all screwed up.
I
Ugh.
also made the dodecahedron react to sound. That's why I was clapping
Really?
so much.
Oh,
because
cool.
everything was
Good.
pulsating.
Good. I'm glad you guys are taking your own initiative to try some new things.
I was like, I'm actually caught up. I'm gonna start to play around. And then be like, oops, what just happened?
Yes.
Can I picture the assistant?
Yeah, I'll be right.